Our diocese has been very busy with spiritual actions this weekend. Yesterday, we had the great pleasure and joy of witnessing the ordination and consecration of a new bishop, the Right Reverend Dr. Phil LaBelle. And for those of you that got a chance to watch online, and a couple of us in the room made the trip to Bellevue, it was a very joyful day, full of much pomp and circumstance. Everything we could do to make it fancy, we did. A day of celebration to witness God's calling not just on a new bishop, but on the whole church as we seek to be Christ's hands and feet in the world. Yesterday, a friend and mentor asked me to describe why I felt so excited about the bishop's ordination. And I told her it's because ordinations remind me the church is still doing new things, still growing in new ways, raising new leaders, and being born again. This is another day of celebration for us here at St. Anthony's. At our 10:15 service, when Emily Nickerson is able to be with us, at least from a distance, we will say special prayers and thanksgivings, ask for God's blessings on the new bell and bell tower that she donated in honor of her daughter. Emily moved to Tennessee, but continues to pray and care for us from afar. And so we're excited to see her again. As we continue into the season of creation, the theme for today is ACT, taking action. Together, the church around the world today will pray and ponder the actions we can take as individuals, as congregations, and as a whole society to protect our planet for generations that come after us. This weekend especially, with Bishop Phil's ordination and with blessing our bell at St. Anthony's, we are witnessing how the church loves to weave rich symbolism into everything we do. These are two symbolic gestures, the ordination of a bishop, the blessing of a bell, and they are ancient ones. We have been blessing bells and ordaining bishops for thousands of years. And in our tradition especially, we love to incorporate beautiful symbolism into our liturgy. We like to weave in these symbols to represent God's actions in the world and our response to those actions in our daily lives. When you heard the reading of the gospel just now, you noticed that we brought it down from the altar down to the people to represent how God came down to dwell among us. What we do in worship represents what we believe God has done, is doing, and will do in the future. And nowhere is this more clear than in the sacraments. In Eucharist, we offer bread and wine and share it with one another to remember Christ's life, death, and resurrection, and our responsibility to share the gift of Christ's love to all the world. In baptism, we use water to symbolize the washing away of a new Christian's sin and their birth into the family of God. When we anoint the sick, we use beautifully fragrant oil to make the sign of the cross on their forehead. And even after they've gone, that scent of the oil will linger to symbolize how our prayers are going out with them and how God's blessing stays on them. We Episcopalians are very skilled at beautiful symbolic actions. And I hope that when the call comes, like I think it is coming from our environment, that we can translate those actions from symbolism into reality. I already see you do this. I've witnessed people at this church share food with people who are hungry in the same way we share bread and wine at the Eucharist. I have seen this community welcome new people with love into God's family with warmth and care, just like we welcome new members when we baptize them. I have seen people of this community gather around those who are sick or grieving among us and bless them with love and prayers and car rides and casseroles. I've seen you already translate the symbolism of our symbolic actions, our sacraments into real actions of service to one another. Yesterday, as we ordained Bishop Phil, it was also Holy Cross Day. And so we hear in the readings Christ calling to his disciples and to us, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves, pick up their cross, and follow me." We've interpreted cross here as a symbolic calling or burden in the same way that carrying the crossbar to his execution was a physical burden for Christ, a symbol of his love for humanity. Yesterday, the preacher at Bishop Phil's ordination quoted Bishop Barbara Harris, the first woman consecrated as bishop in the entire Anglican Communion, as saying this: "Let us be clear about what a cross is. A cross is a burden that you choose. It isn't forced upon you. You are not born with it. You choose to pick it up, and you can put it down anytime you want. But you keep carrying it anyway because you have chosen to do so." And so I wonder, what cross is Jesus calling St. Anthony's in Silverdale to take up in our quest to care for the earth? As Jesus warns us, what will it profit them to gain the whole world and yet forfeit their life? If we use up all the resources in the world, we'll gain it for a moment and forfeit life for the children that come after us. So what physical, tangible act might we commit to as a church to care for the environment around us? Already, many of you give your time to care for the plants and landscape of our property. We're trying to recycle, compost, reduce the waste that we send to landfills. I wonder what else we could do to translate this symbolic care for God's creation into tangible actions. We could adopt Old Frontier Road for 2 years and do cleanups. We could plant trees or make a dedicated gift to an organization that does this important work. This summer, our children focused at Vacation Bible School on water and the ocean life. And so the Bishops' Committee was pondering, is there a local organization that ministers to people and gets them clean water that we can support? Your landscape design team is working on a plan that includes a rain garden, protection for wetlands, and other environmentally conscious plantings and design elements. We're hoping we can add more food and forage for the bees. We're hoping we can use our tiny corner of the earth and make it a little healthier. If you have a passion for one of these projects or a different one that I haven't thought of, let me know. I would love to hear your ideas. Caring for our corner of this earth is one part of the cross Christ calls us to take up and follow him. When you hear the bell ringing on Sunday mornings, I hope you imagine the voice of Christ calling you, calling all of us to pick up our cross, to pick up the burdens that we choose to carry and to make our corner of the world a kinder, healthier place for humanity and for all of God's creation. Let us carry this cross together for the sake of our children and all future generations, and as we promise at our baptism, we will, with God's help. Amen.